All right, welcome back. I'm Jason Whitlock. He is Marcellus Wiley. It's time to put on our thinking caps. Eric Mangini and Sean Merriman are back. As you know, I'm a journalist, and we've got our resident Ivy Leaguer, Columbia's very own Marcellus Wiley. We're going to talk about a big issue in sports on a much deeper intellectual level.
Yes, we are.
For our Columbia grad, we have a special cap. Darnell, bring it out.
Oh,
You guys have to put up with this.
Ooh, biscuit.
Eric, you went to Wesleyan. It's probably a pretty smart school. Got a Maryland grad here.
Belichick.
I'm from Ball State. I socialize very well with it. All right.
We bet.
Let's return to the NFL, where the Patriots once again proved to be greater than the sum of their parts, with Brady leading another unheralded unit to a huge road win over my Kansas City Chiefs. And back to the Super Bowl for the third year in a row. Before the game, Brady said he felt like everyone doubted the Patriots, and right after the win, he vented about all the criticism to receiver Chris Hogan.
You're too slow. We got no skill players. We got no defense. We got nothing.
Hogan is just one of Brady's many unheralded skills players, the most notable being Julian Edelman, who has turned into the most productive postseason receiver in the NFL since joining forces with Brady. I'm watching the game Sunday night, and Julian Edelman crushed the Kansas City Chiefs. And it just popped in my head. I was like, Julian Edelman's more valuable than all the diva receivers that get all the attention. This guy's out here killing it, putting together a Hall of Fame resume, helping the Patriots go back to the Super Bowl for the 9th time. Julian Edelman is more valuable than Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham Jr., and all the other diva receivers wrapped together.
Man, you're going to make me take shots at Julian Edelman. And that's not even right. No, I'm with you, because when they said it during the broadcast, he's putting together a Hall of Fame candidacy, I was like, yeah, because he's clutch. And that's amazing. But we have to dive into the details to also highlight why Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham were more valuable. One, before you even get to this postseason, you got to ball out 0 to 16, as they call it. So you got to get your regular season games up to even get in that conversation. And that's where Julian Edelman, one, loses the conversation to Antonio Brown and to Odell Beckham Jr. By just the numbers. Odell has only been in the league with 5 years. Before those 5, he had 1,000+ yards. Only once he missed it, and that was because of injury.
Empty calories. Go ahead.
Oh, wow.
Go ahead.
Ooh, okay, well, Hall of Fame, you know.
Empty calories.
You're going to count the 2 games in the postseason, maybe 3, versus the 16 regular. Okay, that's your grading scale. Edelman and Antonio Brown being in the league the same amount of years. Ooh, don't look at 2 1,000-yard seasons for Edelman versus 7 without it. And Antonio has just the opposite, 7 with it and 2 without it. There's no comparison in terms of, like, just what they can do out there. There's not a comparison. Now, if you put them all in the same situation structure and lessen the assets around them, then you're going to have a conversation. But here's my real thing. As we just watched the Hall of Famer in T.O., who put up the 2nd best numbers in NFL history, get slighted because of off-the-field issues, I'm going to slight Julian Edelman for on-the-field issues. I'm not even going to go into his Snapchat. Y'all go into his Snapchat if y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm going to go into the fact you got suspended for PEDs. Now, where I'm from, the athlete I am, who never touched them, anybody who did it, and one of my best friends in the game, Rodney Harrison, did it. Sean Merriman got caught. I love y'all as people. But as a player, man, we don't even count you. You are beyond discounted. You're discarded, because if you had to go and cheat to go get there, man versus machine, I'm going to bet on the machine. You are on that thing. Once you do that, you're discarded in this conversation in comparison to other guys who haven't been affected by that.
And, you know, I do agree with you in certain parts about that, because, you know, I've also got asked a few times, like, what do I feel about going forward? You got some of the baseball players who up, and I had to comment on it, so I do feel about that at a certain point. But I'm going to go to a whole point of none of these diva guys can even play on this team in the first place. They can never play on this systematic offensive scheme program New England Patriots team in the first place. They can never go on the field. They're too much about give me the damn ball. In this scheme, you can't have a give me the damn ball attitude because this ain't the type of scheme. The last person that played in that scheme that you knew you had to throw the ball to, you knew you had to give him the ball with was Randy Moss.
Yeah.
That was it. But that's so rare for that to even happen that it'll never happen again because you have to spread the ball around too much to these guys. That's what makes them so unpredictable on what they're going to do on the offense side of the ball. I can go back to even Wes Welker. I mean, Wes Welker, we lined up. Wes Welker ate us alive when we played them. He found a way. He was Julian Edelman before Julian Edelman even was really talked about.
Exactly.
Wes Welker was the man. He leaves and go to Denver. I know he had the concussion, some injury problems and whatnot, but you didn't hear about him again. I can't put him up in that category only because he has too much help. One being Tom Brady, the other one being Bill Belichick. You go to another team and you produce the same way, then we can have these talks. If you can't do that, then I can't talk about it.
Yeah, Julian Edelman is a fit in this system. He's productive in this system, just like Wes Welker was productive in this system. And before him, Troy Brown was productive in this system. Now, Antonio Brown is a different category because he's uniquely talented. And even when you double team him, he can find ways to get open. But if you look at their whole body of work and all the things they bring, you've got to look at how much you have to pay in Antonio Brown versus Edelman. You have to look at the distractions that each guy brings to the table in the offseason, during the regular season, all those other problems. And you know, how do you weigh those things? If we're just going to look at sheer ability, then Antonio Brown would have the nod without a doubt. When you look at the system fit and how productive he is for this team, it's no comparison.
Marcellus, you've made a point that as someone, obviously clearly wasn't even close to being a pro player, but never used PEDs, but I never had a problem with guys that did. I really did. It didn't bother me, no.
Why?
Because people do, generally speaking, whatever it is necessary to compete. Whatever it takes to compete, people are going to do, and you can't stop them. And again, it's not that I think using steroids is okay, but it's like I looked at it like, oh, that's what that dude's got to do to compete, huh?
Well,
it's not necessarily as players. You also have to understand it's the committee who vote on it. That is not just the players. You have some players. You got some guys that do it and don't even get caught for a long period of time. You got some guys like me who made a mistake. I believe in his case, and when he presented it to the league, he made a mistake. So does, but you get suspended. That's what it is. But and I always say it, if I was in that position and I wouldn't get in because of that reason, I wouldn't be totally upset because I understand that you got a bunch of guys that have long careers, never been in trouble, never, for that anyway, and never had any off-the-field issues, none of this stuff. I understand it. I get it. But I don't necessarily think that that's going to be the determining factor for him, at least, because he's had a long enough career where he's been productive, and not just something short and happened and went away.
And I want to move back to valuable. And so, to me, if I'm an NFL owner, executive, or head coach, I want to get to where Belichick and the Patriots are. 9 Super Bowls in 18 years. 5 Super Bowl rings. That kind of consistency. And so if I'm a owner, executive, or coach, I'm like, how can I find me a Julian Edelman? And how can someone who will adhere to the system that I want to use to win? He's reliable. I don't have to worry about whether he's going to be at the practice before a must-win game. I don't have to worry about, is he going to get to the spot where my quarterback expects him to? He's not going to be Facebook Live and inside my locker room. Right. He's not going to be a distraction. This is a guy that I can win with. And since 2009, 105 postseason receptions. The second place is Wes Welker with 61. Third is Julio Jones. You don't get to Antonio Brown until like 9th or 10th. Odell Beckham's not. These guys aren't as reliable as Julian Edelman, and availability and reliability are talents that are highly valuable.
I mean, look, when you're a Patriot, as Edelman is, he has 6 more games in the postseason than Brown and Beckham combined. Yeah. So guess what? You're going to have more opportunities to get those numbers up. But per game averages, he doesn't beat Antonio Brown. So, if Antonio Brown had more opportunities, then his numbers would trump Edelman. The thing about it is you can't replicate what the Patriots are doing. Like, they even Mr. Magoo themselves to this position. They didn't know what they were getting in Belichick in terms of this level of greatness. They thought they were getting a damn good coach and an amazing defensive coordinator who had his struggles in Cleveland, 36-44 record. And then when he got to New England, he was 5-13 before Tom Brady stepped on that field. Now, everyone always says, oh, who is it, Belichick or Brady? I can't isolate the variables except saying one. Belichick had opportunities before Brady, but none since Brady. 5-13. Then Brady hit the field. That year, they won 11 games and won the Super Bowl.
You could argue the individuals. I'm talking reliability, consistency, availability, the lack of distraction. Though you take those values anywhere in sports, anywhere in TV, anywhere in life, and they work. And Julian Edelman adheres to those values, and that makes him more valuable than guys that don't.
And when you look at Odell or Antonio and you say, well, they haven't had as many opportunities in the postseason, if they were more reliable, if they were more consistent, would those teams have been in the postseason more? You know, is it chicken or egg in terms of their production?
What about Eli Manning? Anybody?
Well, again, he might perform better if he was in a better, more reliable.
So you give him Edelman, Eli's better.
If I give him the culture and the adherence to reliability and consistency, yeah, Eli's better. But Eli's old and washed up. Coming up, a new report claims some of the Eagles have turned against Carson Wentz. We'll tell you if the quarterback should be worried. Next!